Rainbow Six Siege Year 11 Season 3 is officially almost here, and Ubisoft has just revealed one of the biggest updates of the year. Operation Spitfire is bringing a brand new defender, major changes to Villa, updates to several other maps, a completely new competitive rank, a new limited time 3v3 mode, a drone racing event, balance changes of course, and even the return of Doctor's Curse. So in this video we're going through everything coming with Operation Spitfire, including the stuff that could seriously change the Siege meta. And before we start, the season is currently scheduled to launch on the 1st of September 2026, and the test server is already live by the time this video comes out, and of course it's PC only. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. The biggest addition this season is of course Noor, a new Egyptian defender. Noor is a 2-speed defender, and his entire design revolves around controlling areas and specifically putting pressure on attackers using ballistic shields, so operators like Montaigne, Blitz, and Blackbeard. His unique gadget is called the Horus Lance Launcher, and this thing is pretty crazy. The Horus Lance fires special charges that can attach to surfaces and create a burning area both in front and behind of the gadget. But what's especially important is that the projectile can interact with things that normally provide protection to attackers. That means shield operators can't simply just sit behind their protection and ignore Noor. The gadget can also interact with destructible surfaces, meaning Noor isn't limited to simply throwing his charges into rooms. You can use walls, floors, and ceilings to create areas that attackers have to think twice about entering. This gives Noor two major jobs. First, he's a direct answer to shield heavy strategies, and second, he's an area denial defender. So even when the enemy isn't bringing shields, Noor can still use his gadget to make certain entrances, doorways, and plant locations much harder to use. The really interesting part is that Noor doesn't necessarily have to kill anyone with his gadget. Simply forcing an attacker to move can be extremely valuable in Siege. If someone is holding an angle and Noor forces them away from it, your team gets an opportunity to take that space. Stadium if an attacker is trying to plant and Noor denies the area, you bought your team more time. And if a shield operator of course is trying to push into side, Noor can force them to abandon their protection. So I wouldn't describe Noor as simply a shield counter, and he's more of a space control defender who happens to be extremely annoying for shield players. His secondary gadgets are also the purple shield and Barbara, giving him additional options depending on how you want to play him. And of course, his primary weapons are the Commando 9 and the Alda 5.56, which is Maestro's LMG. So a 2-speed operator having one of the best guns in the game, which is Maestro's LMG, is going to be extremely interesting when the official release finally comes out. Next up is Villa, but this isn't being treated as a traditional full rework. Ubisoft is introducing what it's calling targeted map updates. We saw a little bit of a peek into this in Year 11 Season Year 10 Season 4, I believe, during the Thatcher rework release, and when we saw Ubisoft talking about all the changes they're going to be making in the following year, this was one of them. Instead of rebuilding an entire map, Ubisoft can take specific areas that aren't working particularly well and make meaningful changes to them. Villa is the first major example of this system in Year 11 Season 3. The biggest change is happening downstairs. Villa is getting a new basement bomb site that is replacing the living room and library bomb site that was basically never played and was the worst bomb site in the map. The basement and garage are being redesigned to create an entirely different defensive setup. The garage area is being opened up, with some of the existing layout being replaced. The familiar red van is also being removed and replaced with a new cover and structural changes. There are also new ways to enter the site. A new hatch has been added above art storage, connecting the upper floor to the basement area. This is important because it gives attackers another potential route into the new site and for more strategies to come up with different operators. So instead of simply learning one completely new map, players are going to have to relearn how Villa's basement works, and this could have pretty significant impacts on the map strategies. And of course, with the targeted map updates, there is more content when there's no new map available. So every season that a new map is not being introduced in the game, like last season had Calypso Casino, in that season, for example, we wouldn't have had a targeted map update, but this season we don't have a new map, so we'll have a targeted map update. For example, in the next season, if there's no new map, we will have a targeted map update, but if there's a new map, that means we won't get any. House, Stadium Alpha, and Stadium Bravo are also going to be receiving some small changes. Not targeted map updates, but of course the modernizations that we saw beginning with Siege X. Obviously the environmental hazards like the gas pipes and the new lighting and then the fire extinguishers. There are also going to be improvements to lighting, reactive lighting, props and things like that. Stuff we've been seeing with the modernizations of different maps across the previous seasons. Now we get into one of the biggest competitive additions that have come into Siege since the introduction of the Champion Ranked, Legend Division. Ubisoft is adding a brand new highest tier to Ranked. The idea is pretty straightforward. If you're already at the top of the ranked ladder, aka Champ 1 actually, what comes next? Legend. It's designed to give the strongest players another level to compete for while also creating a much more exclusive competitive environment, and there's an interesting reward attached to it. At the end of the season, the top 100 players in the Legend Division leaderboard per region will receive a special charm showing their leaderboard position at the time the season is over. So this isn't just another hitting the rank for the sake of it. This is an exclusive charm given to the top 100 players in each region in the world. These are some of the best Siege players that play the game currently. It's not just another name. There's an actual leaderboard component attached to it, and considering how competitive Siege highest ranks already are with rank 3.0, this could be one of the biggest bragging rights systems in the game. And of course, with this comes not really a new anti-cheat system, but improvements to the old anti-cheat system. For example, other games like Valorant use Secure Boot and TPM 2.0 to protect the game against cheaters, and Siege will be implementing this with the Legend Division. You are required to have Secure Boot on TPM 2.0 and as well go through a PC check with their new anti-cheat before you are allowed to play this ranked division. And Ubisoft and the anti-cheat team, the development team, they're watching all the players in the Legend Division very closely to make sure that there are no bad actors in this mode. They want to keep it as cheater free as possible so that they can implement Secure Boot and TPM 2.0 into the actual rest of the game and make Siege a better experience for us players who are honest and players who don't cheat, compared to the ones who just run around with scripts and recall stuff and all things like that. Now for something completely different, Y11 Season 3 is introducing a new limited time 3v3 arcade mode. Previously they have brought the 1v1 mode back twice since they introduced it previously, and it has performed quite well. Good reception from the player base. Now they are introducing a 3v3 mode, and as the name suggests, matches are built around teams of 3. The idea is to make Siege much faster and more chaotic than a normal match, and there's also rule of attrition or something like that, where if you play 3 operators you win the round, you cannot play those 3 operators again. I do believe there'll be bans, and I don't know if any of the map will be cordoned off, but we'll find out when the mode comes. And because it's limited time, you'll want to play it while it's available if you want to experience it, similar to the 1v1 modes. We are also getting a new Wasteland Circuit event, and this one is pretty unusual, but I think it's something a lot of people in the community have been asking for. It is a drone racing event. Instead of another traditional combat focused event, Ubisoft is taking one of Siege's most recognizable gadgets, the drone, and turning this into a racing experience. You'll be racing drones through dedicated courses and competing for cosmetic rewards. We don't know much else about this new event, but we can expect something good coming. Ubisoft is cooking something good with this new event. It's a pretty big departure from normal Siege gameplay, but that's exactly what makes it interesting. Let's talk about operators that will be receiving major changes this season. We'll start with Dokubi. We want to reinforce interactivity and counterplay during the execution of the GIGABYTE payload, which is the name of Dokubi's reworked ability, while ensuring Dokubi's success depends on positioning, timing, and risk management. Requiring a continuous connection between Dokubi's tablet and the target's phone introduces a clearer risk-reward dynamic to the GIGABYTE payload. Defenders can actively interrupt the process using gadgets such as signal disruptors, which is mutability, or by eliminating Dokubi. Tuberal will also be able to counter Dokubi, similar to how Mute does with his canisters. The tablet remaining active and detectable by electronic detectors such as Solis's gadgets throughout the upload further increases the risk, which is around 12 seconds of tracking time while Dokubi's calling, so Solis can use her, in a coordinated stack. Solis can use her scanner, update her team on where Dokubi is, and they could push Dokubi. This encourages more deliberate positioning and careful timing when committing to the ability. Additionally, Dokubi's EMPs will be replaced with breach charges, so that will change how she's being played as well. So there are some updates to the GIGABYTE payload. Like I just mentioned, it requires constant connection between Dokubi and the target. Progress interrupting connection automatically cancels the upload, and the tablet is always active. Now, for an operator people weren't really expecting, we have Kali. We want to improve Kali's fluidity and adaptability across engagement distances, allowing her to participate more actively in a wider range of scenarios. Removing the ADS cancellation when swapping from the VLANs, which is Kali's gadget, improves overall responsiveness, allowing Kali to use her gadget more fluidly without disengaging from fights. This change better integrates her utility into moment-to-moment gameplay. The updated scope magnifications are designed to be more practical across different distances, allowing the default magnification with an existing value to reduce the learning curve, while lowering the higher magnification makes it more usable without compromising Kali's effectiveness at longer ranges. So basically, what they have done with this Kali change is now the short magnification on her sniper, it now comes down to 3.5 times from 5 times, and the long magnification comes down from 12 times to 8 times. The pump is also reduced by 0.2 seconds, and the max ammo is now 51 bullets. The recoil is increased, which means it has better recoil, and the hip fire spread as well. Now, something all the players have been asking for so many years is changes to the SMG-12. The SMG-12 is like a cancer in the current siege meta. It's such an overpowered gun that is better than a lot of SMGs, better than some primaries. Like Caveira's SMG is so much worse than the SMG-12. So the SMG-12 offers an extremely high rate of fire, allowing it to deliver significant damage output in very short time frames. Despite its extended intended trade-offs, its current damage, magazine size, and total ammo pool can enable excessive sustained pressure, particularly in close-range engagements. These changes emphasize controlled bursts over prolonged fire, increasing the importance of precision and timing. Players will need to be more selective in how they commit to engagements, as missed shots or overuse will carry greater consequences. Now let's look at the changes. The damage goes from 28 to 16 HP. The magazine size is now 22 bullets from 32, and the max ammo count is now 111 bullets from 129. We will see how these changes affect the SMG-12 coming into season 3 of year 11. It is going to be so much better. You will see people running Warden less. You will see people running Vigil less, because they were played not for their gadget but for their guns. And now the SMG-12 is being nerfed to hell. We will see a much fresher meta of guns because it's getting nerfed. I still greatly worry about the TCSG, the shotgun, because nothing was spoken about it. I feel like that's because it's not that bad on PC. Like, you won't see people really running it like in favor of other guns. Like, you'll see people run the Vector more on Goyo, then you'll see people run the TCSG on him, and unlike Kaid, obviously, because it's his obvious primary, you don't really see a lot of people running the AUG. But on console, it is quite devious. I don't know if you guys have seen Mingo play with the TCSG. Like, okay, I get it, it's Mingo, but like, there's no recoil when he plays, and you see this literally. It is so good for the people who run scripts because they are literally just having a no recoil slug shotgun that does so much damage, you know. Let us move on to another meta defining change, and that is the nerfing of the DMRs on defense. So Aruni and Tuberal both have access to DMRs that already offer strong long-range precision and high per shot damage. When paired with certain barrel attachment, these weapons can become overly consistent in reducing recoil, particularly in rapid follow-up shots. Without access to the muzzle brake, these weapons should require greater recoil management between consecutive shots, reinforcing their precision-focused gameplay. This adjustment reduces the overall firing consistency. So for both the MK14 and the AR-15.50 on Tuberal and Aruni, the muzzle brake is not available. And for the AR 15.50, the damage is being reduced to 59 HP from 67, and the recoil is increased on both MK and controller. And for the MK14, damage is going to 56 from 60 with increased recoil. Aruni and Dokubi are also going to be affected. So the damage and like the changes of the damage and the recoil affects both attackers and defenders, but the muzzle brake removing will only affect the defenders. There are smaller refinement changes for operators that Ubisoft feel are not performing too well. According to them, it doesn't aim to alter the operator's power level of flexibility, but it's just focused on polishing the gameplay. So Lion, his warning scan drops down by 0.1 second from 1.5 to 1.4. Capcan damage goes up to 62 from 60. Echo's sonic burst refill goes from 15. It's now 15 from 16, and I feel like that's a really good change because that 1 second could make or break when you're denying plant with Echo. The SPS MG9, which is Kali's secondary SMG, also on Clash. The damage increases to 35 HP from 33. The Claymore is also increasing in damage from 100 to 150 to 155 HP. And yes, Doctor's Curse is coming back. The Halloween themed event is returning during Year 11 Season 3, of course, during Halloween. So if you missed it previously or just want to experience the chaos again, you have another opportunity. Of course, this is the first ever Siege event where you will not be able to buy the packs with Renown, and you will have to use strictly R6 credits. So we'll see how it is when it comes to the economy. Like I mentioned earlier, the test server for Operation Spitfire went live on the 17th of August 2026. The full season is scheduled to launch on September 1st, 2026, and of course, when a new season launch and updates, we can expect a downtime from 60 to 180 minutes. Obviously, some things can still change between the test server and the live release, similar to how the Nari was shadow nerfed before he actually got to the main build. Ubisoft has already been pushing test server fixes and adjustments, so anything you're seeing during testing shouldn't necessarily be considered final. And that's basically everything major coming with Rainbow Six Siege Year 11 Season 3 Operation Splitfire. We've got Noir and the Horus Last Launcher, a brand new basement sign on Villa, targeted updates to several maps, Legend Division, continued Rank 3.0 improvements, 3v3 Arcade, Wasteland Circuit, the return of Doctor's Curse, and a whole collection of balance changes. Honestly, in my opinion, this is looking like a pretty packed season. The biggest question now is whether Nor actually manages to change the shield meta and whether the Legend Division ends up becoming the competitive grind Ubisoft aims it to be. Operation Splitfire, like I mentioned, launches September 1st, so if you're planning on jumping into the new season, make sure you're ready. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the page, and let me know in the comments what are you most excited for in Operation Splitfire, and I'll see you all in the next one.